You know what I mean?
That's just gay, cuz. Who would even say that?
Highly sexual.
That's
He's a highly
gay.
sexualized Punjabi. He's a highly
Why would you
sexualized
even say
Punjabi.
that?
Why does another man say he's going to put his finger
He's
in
a
another
highly
man's
sexualized
rectum?
Punjabi pigeon. That's why.
It's just
Yeah,
wrong.
so-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is wrong, definitely. Like, we don't want,
Ain't
like...
Ain't he
that's his
calling for gay
culture.
rape? Ain't he calling for gay rape?
No, but that's his culture, he said. He said, like, the
Is
Sphinx
it?
is called as... The Sphinx
But
is
ain't
called as...
that gay rape though? Didn't he threaten Raspik for
Did
gay
he say
rape?
in his culture, what fingers men?
No. In his culture, like, the Sphinx is the sphincter, and he wants his gold finger. You know the sphincter, the Sphinx.
Yeah,
No way.
That's it, right?
I don't know, but
The
but
sphincter.
that's,
Yeah.
but ain't that gay rape, bruv? That's gay rape, bruv.
Yeah.
Finger the
I'm
bingy,
sorry.
finger in his bum. Finger the bingy, finger the bingy.
So, Raj, are you
Raj, is that
supporting
a
gay
latest
rape?
Punjabi
No,
song?
I'm not.
Is that a new
Are you
Punjabi
supporting
song?
gay rape?
I'm not.
Raj?
No,
That's a simple
I'm
question.
not. But I will say this, yeah.
Like if
that
I
no
wait,
one-
listen to
Hold
this.
on, hold
Listen
on,
to
hold
this. If I say to a woman, I'm gonna put my finger in your vagina during a fight, yeah, wouldn't be classified as like a rape thing?
Threats to
Yeah,
rape.
but
Yeah.
no one is
Yeah.
gonna.
So if I wait, listen. If a man says that to another man, we're gonna have a fight, and I'm gonna put my finger up your asshole. Wouldn't that also be considered as rape?
Nobody is touching
Gay rape.
Raspik's bond.
No,
Yeah,
but he has been threatened.
Hold on.
He's been threatened to get fingered by
Yes,
Waleed,
but
which
nobody.
is gay rape. That's
Nobody
sexual
is gonna.
assault there, bro.
All right, so nobody is gonna be touching.
But
Right.
Raj,
Wanna
it's
do
not
it the
about
right
Raj.
This is
Straight
gay.
up, that's a sexual assault, bro. He's calling for sexual assault. All right, go on, Kay.
Saying, Raj, it's not whether it's a reality or not. It's not about protecting the rectum, as it were. It's about what this other dude is saying, and he's absolutely correct. That if it was a woman and a man said to her, "Listen, I'm going to slap you up, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert things in you," that is a threat to rape, and that's a more serious crime than just.
Trust me.
100.
Rod, to be fair,
I've said to you, nobody is gonna touch.
It's
his
not
rectum.
about whether it happens or not. It's already bad enough to be threatening it, in my opinion.
I've said no one's touching
And I
his
don't know
rectum.
where that comes from, but I'm guessing it's an imaginary one, to be fair.
Yo, Raj, I think your hatred for respect is clouding your judgment on this. To be honest.
Listen here, man. Me and Respect are the best of friends. How dare you say my hatred?
For real.
Me and Respect,
The
yeah,
mother
meet up
thing, the
every
rape
day. We chat on the phone at least for 4 hours,
Yeah, Raj,
and we are
Raj,
best mates.
if
But no
this
fingers involved.
So
No
you prearranged
fingers,
to
no
sit
fingers.
in his
We
backstage.
do, no. We do eat chocolate fingers, yeah, but they're
Yeah,
Cadbury's
but
chocolate
Raj,
fingers.
Raj,
Cadbury's
say
chocolate
if
fingers we eat, but
Yeah, but
not
Raj-
the fingers you're talking about.
Raj, say if this was TYO who's been saying these things, I will imagine it will be peak.
No, I remember TYO is an uncivilized savage, so I would expect nothing less from him.
No, but be honest, this is
I would expect him to say fisting and shit like that. So
because even the things I heard.
Your dad's an uncivilized savage.
For me, he's an uncivilized
Your dad's
savage.
an uncivilized
He has
savage.
no morality. He's a
He still
cunt
gets
of the
fed in a
highest
kennel.
order,
Your mother
and he's
feeds him in the
somebody
back
that
garden kennel.
needs to
The
be
dog.
deported.
The dog.
Deport TYO.
All right, hold on.
Deport me. I was born here. You came
We
here from
want
Uganda.
you out.
Listen. You
We
came here from
want
Uganda,
you
you piece
out.
of shit. I was
We
born
want
here, so
you
fucking
out.
behave.
We
Yeah?
want
You're a
you
Ugandan.
out.
You
You
came from
need to
Uganda.
leave the
Idi
Is there a
UK.
teacher in the
Now-
building? Dad,
Yeah,
what's
You
that?
need to leave the UK.
Yo, moderate.
Idi Amin kicked
All right,
you
look.
out of
You
Uganda,
need to leave
Uganda,
the
and you fucking
UK.
came running
Yo,
over
Raj,
here.
TY,
That's what happened.
just give me a sec. Hold on, because people want us to get off this topic of Zubaydah Waleed rape, finger
Amen.
bing, all this, it's all a bit
I
sus.
didn't bring it up.
I know a
didn't
topic.
bring it up.
I know a
didn't
topic.
bring it up.
Go on
I
then,
don't
TY.
know.
Go on
It's
then.
about me. Watch. It's gonna be about me.
Right.
Listen
I know the
carefully.
topic.
Raj,
Listen
cool down.
carefully. It's gonna be directed at me. Watch this. They can't talk about anything apart from me.
Colonialism in Africa. Raj, can you be quiet now, please?
Yeah, listen. Watch. He's gonna talk about Uganda.
Colonialism in
Yeah,
Africa
go on.
and the second wave.
Go on.
The second wave subcolonialism at the hands
Yes.
of the Indians.
Yeah, and which included Muslims and included Hindus.
Yeah.
You are now in Pakistan.
Yes,
Muslims from Pakistan.
which included Muslims as well. No
Yes,
doubt. But I have no ties to any connection.
You have no
to any
ties to them,
Muslims
yes, and you got no
that
ties.
was subcolonial. That was subcolonial, like masters, you know, like
Yeah, and the
operated
same
in
way,
Africa.
I agree.
I have no connection.
All right, I
You
agree.
have a direct connection to
All right,
Uganda.
so I agree. All right,
You are directly connected to Uganda.
All right,
I'm
all right,
not.
so I
Okay?
agree. You have no connection to Uganda. Same way you got no connection to the Ottoman Empire. You prick.
Yeah, that's
You're
got nothing
Indian.
to do with the talk about the
You are
topic. You know.
Indian.
Talk about the topic. Let's talk
Your
about the topic.
ancestors were Indian Hindus. Yeah.
Subcolonialism
Do
in Africa.
not be embarrassed of your heritage.
It's like
You are not
franchising
an
colonialism.
Ottoman.
It's
You're not an
franchising
Ottoman, no matter
slavery.
how much you
Let's
want to
talk
be
on the topic
Ottoman.
now, Raj.
You
Come on,
are
guys.
not
One
an
minute.
Okay, let's
Ottoman.
have a minute each.
You are
Come on,
not
let's talk about the
Ottoman.
topic.
Okay,
Let's
it's
talk about the topic.
medication time.
Minute
You're not
each.
Ottoman.
Minute each.
do
Yeah,
I
not-
think
One.
you
We've
guys
got a
need
minute.
to have 1 minute at a time because you guys keep
Who
on
wants minute
speaking.
first?
Oh no, Shine is gonna come with the clock.
Who wants? Do you want to go first?
Listen, I can't. You know what? Yeah, I can't even come with the clock right now because I'll go do my prayers so somebody else comes up with
Okay,
the
I just
time.
want.
TYO, why are you so
I just want to put.
obsessed with me?
Stick to the
Why
topic.
are you so obsessed with me?
Stick
You
to the
cannot
topic.
jump on a panel without talking about me.
Stick to the topic.
Why
Then,
don't
Raj.
you just worry
Why
about
are you
your
running away for?
community up north
Right.
who's raping young
Raj,
girls?
I'd like to ask
Why
you
do
a
you do
question.
that instead? You
I'd like
instead
to,
of worrying
I'd like
about
to ask
me,
you a question.
why not worry
Raj,
about
do
the
you
young girls
feel
that have been
guilty?
raping older men,
You
Manchester?
know, now that you've come to the
Your
UK and you've learned about slavery,
why
and you've
don't
learned about
you do
colonialism,
that?
do you
Yo,
feel
YouTube
guilty?
can't
about
get
the
nothing,
rape
guys.
Do you feel guilty that your parents,
Manchester,
your
your community is
the
responsible?
enslavement of Africa?
Has anyone noticed these lot just talk over each other? Both of them.
When you already,
house
when you
and
were
deal
already
guys.
enslaved at the
Funny
hands of the
brothers
British
who
in
are
India.
You're just talking
and
over each other.
booming
What is the point?
I know.
in Manchester. Yeah. Manchester, the epicenter of the grooming epidemic where you're from. You're from Oldham. Why don't you go outside your house and deal with your community who are raping young girls for the last 30 years en masse in Manchester? Why don't you do that first? Maybe I can talk to you.
I don't have anything to do with any sort of community that does that kind of stuff. You're the same as I moved.
Raj, you can't ask him a question and then not let him respond. You've got to let him respond.
Exactly. Now, what do you want to do? Do you want to ask me questions or no? Now, what's the topic anyway?
Well,
I thought we decided that
I'm
topic
trying
was
to talk
gonna be
about something that's
colonialism.
not related to me.
Are we done? Are we changing the topic here?
Oh, well, why is the topic related to me? Everything you want to talk about is about me.
Well, why didn't you mention the topic then?
About me.
Listen.
Say that again, Kate. Say that again.
Shall we talk about narcissism?
Yeah.
And like the mistaken belief that everything is related to like an individual. Raj, with all due respect, because I've got time for you, let the man chat. He might say something productive, you know, and then you'll be able to counter him.
All right, so Kay, when he's talking about East Africa and the colony, he's talking about my family who are from Uganda. Yeah,
I get that.
So
I get that.
So you put about reality and truth.
What I'm trying to say is, I'm not.
But you're talking about Islam, which is his family, technically.
What I'm saying is that I'm not, but I'm direct about it. I'll talk about it. I'm not saying I'm not. He will jump on a panel. He's obsessed with me. It's like he's a stalker. Every time he jumps on, he just wants to talk about me.
It's nice to be loved.
Yeah, well, listen, when you make 3 hours streams about me, what do you expect? Of course, when I bad you, when I come across an idiot.
So what did your family do in Uganda, Raj?
This is what I wanted to know. What exactly were his parents doing there?
Yeah.
And how many generations
if you're going to be direct and frank about it, I mean, what was your family doing in Uganda?
Right, you gonna allow me to answer it, or you gonna?
Answer, Raj. Look, yeah.
All right.
Abu Bilal, he's not gonna answer my questions. I'm gonna let you pose the questions to him.
All right, so I'll never answer your questions.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna stay quiet.
You have slandered my mother. You have slandered my mother to such a degree, saying she stole from the temple, which is now being spread around my community. You're an evil cunt.
Let's get back to the question. Come on.
You're a devil, a demon, man. You're shaitan incarnated.
Ad hominem.
No. This guy has said you don't understand what he's done. Don't get involved. Don't get involved. Okay, don't get involved.
Wait, hold on.
Why are you always having stupid people that panel?
Between me and him, it will never be civil. Between me and him, it will never be civil. Never. Yeah.
That's fair enough. So speak to somebody else.
Oh yeah, I'll speak to someone else. Don't expect me to ever have a conversation with that freaking degenerate, inbred prick.
Yeah. So Darren, how are you, my friend?
So let's answer that question, Raj.
All right, what's the question?
What was your family doing in Uganda?
Okay, so my family is originally from the Punjab, Ludhiana, going back thousands of years. My grandfather was a railway engineer, and so he was in a kind of a very good job, middle class, and so he was asked, to go over to Uganda to build the railway structures around there. So when he was down there, my mother was then born. He went there first, and my mother later was born in the Punjab, and when she was 1. She then went over with her mother. They stayed there for around 14 to 15 years, and I think they left in around 1962 before Idi Amin started kicking people out a couple of years later. So they went before that, and they moved back to the Punjab. Where my mother got married and then moved to the UK a couple of years later. Now, when they were in Uganda, I have said it 1,000 times that the Indians, including Muslims who are now in Pakistan, and the Hindus, did not behave well, in the sense that they did not integrate. They created societies that were separate from the indigenous population and started to create businesses and stuff and not employ people from the indigenous population, which is not the way to do it. And so, although I disagree,
in Africa,
Muslims are
right,
centered.
so,
Muslims
right,
are centered in
Well,
South Africa.
that's a bit like the Sikhs and the building industry here, isn't it?
Let me finish. So
shop fitters
let me
and all
finish.
that.
So then, when they were down there, I agree, and I've said it a million times. Although I disagree with Idi Amin forcing the Indians out, which were not the Sikhs, there were Muslims there as well, millions of them, and the Hindus as well. I do understand why people were annoyed, at the way the Indians in the Ugandan state were being used as a buffer class by the British, and they were being used as a buffer class because they were in the area of all the kind of businesses and stuff like that. Do I believe that they did it out of racism? No. Do I believe that they did it because they were given a position of kind of privilege in that country? Yeah, they took advantage of it.
It was franchise colonialism,
and so
and
they took
certain people
advantage
put
of
their
the
hands up and said,
situation.
"We'll buy that."
The
It
handful
was
of
offered to many people. Only certain ones bought into it and
so
actually went ahead from India. Not many Muslims went. The ones that did go went to South Africa.
all right,
They didn't
it's
go
out.
to
All right,
Uganda.
this guy's trying to whitewash this. I will start bringing out statistics to show you how many Muslims were in Uganda and how many Hindus. Do you want to start doing it? Because I'll start doing it right now.
no, right. I know Ahmed, you said you were in
Don't try and whitewash yours. I can take responsibility.
I'm not
and say,
whitewashing nothing, bro.
I'm not going to you.
This is what
TYO.
I'm doing.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I can take responsibility and say yes.
Again, Raj.
My people
It's
did
not
go over
mine.
there,
It's not
and
mine.
we
As I am, I have
did
no
not do anything
direct
criminal.
link.
Before anyone says it, there was no criminal
I
acts
have no
going on.
direct link.
What they did was that they created businesses, but they were not, let's say, contributing to the host society. There were businesses that were literally
They
just
were
kind of
creating jobs but not paying taxes.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to say what they did was right. You're trying to do is to kind of say everybody that went to Uganda,
they created jobs, which is a positive thing.
People.
They created jobs, which is positive, but it was the fact that they weren't giving taxes that was the issue.
Everybody, because what you're doing is, because you got a problem with me, you're tarnishing the whole of the Ugandan Asian population as crooks.
I don't believe any Asian.
That's kind of what you do to the Muslims,
let me just say something. Yeah, and I don't believe any Asian should even be in Africa.
So so you don't believe? Yeah, that's a different argument, but they were there.
Yeah,
they were there.
Because let me tell you something. If Africa was developed, and it was a Western nation, and it opened its borders and had a policy of immigration, that's a different thing. But not under the pretext of subcolonialism and buying a franchise into an African nation and looting it. No, not like that. And then having multiple generations stay there. No, I'm not down with that. That's
what about the Ottoman Empire that you are deluded to think you're from?
What about,
did they even invade into Africa?
Did they? Yeah, Algeria.
Well, I'll look, won't I?
Yeah,
let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Yeah, just North Africa.
Whether you're amazing Ottoman Empire. Let's just start looking into whether they ever went into, let's say, sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah,
and
North
see if they
Africa.
Yeah, all right. So they did go into North Africa then. Yeah. And what did they do?
Raj,
what did they do? Yeah, hold on.
What's that got to do with anything?
you're promoting an Ottoman Empire, but then bashing the British
I'm
Empire
not.
when
Yeah,
the Ottoman Empire did exactly the same
I'm
thing.
not promoting. How am I?
Did exactly the same
Raj, I
thing.
didn't raise the issue of the
Exactly
Ottoman
the-
Empire.
Hold on,
I'm
hold
not
on.
even speaking
You
about them.
are. So let me explain. What
I'm
you're
not
trying to.
talking about
Let
them.
me explain. What you're trying to do is to say
You know what
that.
you didn't
Let
like
me
then? You
explain.
didn't like the fact that
Let
I
me
said
explain.
that I'm opposed to Asian
Let
people being
me
in Africa
say.
under the pretext,
Let
under the
me
under them circumstances.
All right.
That's
So
what really got you twisted now, innit?
okay. So let me.
That's why you're
Don't get
really
triggered.
angry.
Don't get triggered.
Does
So
that hurt you?
your argument is this here that the British, because I've heard it before, used the Indians to go into Africa to kind of like what you call kind of like colonize it in a way.
Do that dirty work.
Yeah. So I will use the same argument that your so-called Ottoman Empire that you have the flag of on there and you're proud of did the same thing but to other countries.
Like who?
Well, we'll start finding out. Let me start looking into it, and then we'll have a proper
Right, okay,
conversation.
you're looking
But
to
Raj,
You got- you-
But anyway,
you-
let's moving back to
No,
moving back to
you
this.
want to move it back because you know I've got you over a
You
barrel.
said you're gonna look into
Yeah.
this. Okay, I'll
you
run
That was
with it.
brilliant, Raj.
You
You
can
made
look
a
into
claim
it.
and
Yo.
you haven't even looked
Hold on,
into it. You
hold
just
on,
made
hold
the
on.
claim.
Yo, Raj,
One minute.
Yo,
One minute.
no,
Are
no,
you?
no,
Hold on,
Raj.
shut your mouth for a minute. Yeah. So to
Yo.
Ottoman, be quiet. Ottoman. Do you agree with the Ottoman Empire first? Let me agree. Let me find out first.
What do you
before
mean?
I'm going. You call yourself the young Ottoman.
Like, what do you mean?
also
Do you agree with the Ottoman Empire? In
now.
what way? In what
flag
sense?
that you
Their
got now
laws.
is
That you
Ottoman
know,
Empire.
what exactly is it? It's very
Flag you
broad.
have avatar is the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, but what do you mean?
avatar.
Do I agree with what aspect?
I mean, just generally,
There
do
are
you
certain
agree?
aspects of the Ottoman Empire that I don't agree with. No,
So tell me what then?
like
What you
certain
don't
things
agree?
like killing their brothers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some of the laws that they introduced and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not. So I can't really say to you that yes
What about
or no.
conquering other people?
Pardon?
Conquering other countries
Conquering other
and
countries.
conquering and colonizing other countries and becoming imperial over them.
What's the problem with that, Raj?
I'll tell you. You know what, Raj? I'll tell you.
Wait. What's his problem with that?
Abu Bilal, I'll check this one out. Abu Bilal, check this one out.
Because he's gonna try and dismiss history
No, Abu Bilal, get on this
entirely,
one.
where everybody was doing it.
Yeah. No, Abu Bilal, get on this one. You know me, I can't really say for sure, Raj, but one thing I can say is that, you know, the vast swathes of lands where the Ottomans did conquer and introduced Islam, you know, the people who embraced Islam then, you know, their great grandkids today, you know what they say? They say Alhamdulillah.
Forget about that.
No, I'm telling you about the people who got conquered.
No.
You're asking me about conquering. I'm telling you about the people who got conquered.
I'm not talking about whether
my opinion is nothing.
Not
I'm telling you
talking about whether the
I'm telling you
generation
about the people who are Muslims today.
agreed with it.
I'm talking about the people who are Muslims today.
I'm asking
That's what I'm talking about. Who they conquered are Muslims today. Ask the Muslims. Ask the Muslims. They'll tell you. I'm not asking
you whether they were grateful. I'm asking you, did the Ottoman Empire colonize countries?
No.
So what did they do then?
You tell me.
No,
you obviously think they did. Do you think they did? I'm telling you, no, they didn't. Can you prove otherwise?
What is an empire then?
I'm saying no.
What
you said did
empire?
they colonize? I said no. Can you prove otherwise?
What do you want to call it then? Colonization?
No, I'm asking you. Can you prove otherwise? You use the word. Can you prove otherwise? No. You're not gonna. You use the word colonize. Yeah. I said no. So do you believe they did?
I'm rephrasing it. Did they rule over other nations?
Did they?
What? Did they?
Did they what?
They rule over
yes,
other nations.
They did rule over other nations. What's the point?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to prove is this here. This individual, the young Ottoman, who's not an Ottoman.
Connect this to Uganda now.
Ottoman, yeah.
Connect. No. The connection you were making was to Uganda. Connect this now.
TYO, let him get his point out.
Let me
get his point out.
Go on.
Let me say, so you're supporting a regime, yeah, or a particular kind of empire that went all up to the southern tips of Africa, including Sudan, all the way over to Persia.
It conquered 7 climates and 3 continents.
All the way to India, yeah. You're supporting that particular colonial empire, but you're then banning fire on the British Empire.
It wasn't colonial.
Well, hold on. If you look at the map of the Ottoman Empire, it was huge. It was going all over, probably a quarter of Africa, It went all the way up to India. Yeah, or even Spain was under the Ottoman Empire. So how did they get into Spain?
The Moors.
Yeah. So did they invade Spain and colonize it, or did they walk in with flowers?
Well, actually, history tells us that they were welcomed because they were being persecuted. I think it was by the Catholics or the Protestants. I think probably the Protestants.
So did
It's
they?
the same with same with Constantinople, the Eastern Byzantine capital. That fell.
You got to understand that the Ottomans helped.
Emperors.
The Ottomans helped a lot because you know there was a lot of political situations. The Catholics were fighting the Protestants. Countries coming to them for aid.
Right, so
obviously they're at war, there's blockades and stuff.
You look kind of very colonial masters that you help them. You're actually just the opposite of the British Empire. Don't try and come here with some kind of moral high ground when TYO is a supporter of the Ottoman Empire that also was probably responsible for the Armenian Genocide.
Probably
you know that.
responsible.
You know Armenian Genocide where they killed 1 million Armenians?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Are you proud of that? On your Ottoman Empire?
There's no such thing.
There's no what? There's no what?
There was no such thing.
As what?
As what you're saying.
No, repeat it.
The terminology that you use, yeah, you choose to use that terminology. It's not defined as that.
What is it defined as then?
Yeah, it's not defined as what you're defining it as. Yeah.
Okay. But you tell me what's the right definition? No, tell me the right definition.
No, I know you brought it up. You brought it up.
No.
You go away, do your research. Do your research. No, I'm not going to do any research for you. Do it yourself.
All right. So let me.
Do it yourself.
The Armenian genocide, was committed by the Young Turks that this individual probably supports.
No. Wait. Let's get this right. Let's get this right. Everyone needs to understand this. TYT, the Young Turks. The Young Turks were responsible for bringing down the Ottoman Empire. Mine is TYO. I am in a direct opposition to TYT and the Young Turks.
Let me ask you a question.
Any action that they committed was directly against the Ottomans, and I'm against.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm against Ataturk. Anything Ataturk
let me ask you a question.
Anything he did, I'm totally against it.
Let me ask you a question. Would you consider 1.5 million deaths a genocide?
Depends on how they died.
Yeah.
All right. So if they were killed through, say, persecution and displacement.
It depends on the source. It depends on the source of information. As well.
Is that
depends
a genocide?
On the source of information.
Is that? Would you? All right. So if I was to tell you that, let's just name a country, just for hypothetical, that let's just say Pakistan.
Let's take Syria as an example. Is that a genocide?
Yeah. Let's say Pakistan. Yeah, you have
let's use a real one. Let's use a real one that isn't being labelled as a genocide.
I'm going to do my own one. So say Pakistan, say the Kashmiris.
Okay, let's go theoretical.
Let's just say, why don't we say? Why don't we? I know. Why don't we rewind 20 years? Why don't we rewind back 20 years and use the Punjab massacre? Let's use Punjab as an example.
Let's
use Punjab as an example instead.
1.5 million.
Use your Punjab as an example.
How about Iraq? How many died in Iraq?
1.5 million Kashmiris.
How many died in Iraq?
Killed by the Indian government.
How many died in Iraq? You want me to throw tears over hypothetical scenarios?
Genocide.
I'm asking you how many died in Iraq?
I'm asking you, is it a genocide if
you're not asking me anything. I don't answer your question, Pigeon. I don't answer your question.
What?
Why they murdered?
Your hypothetical.
You've already answered it. You said that 1.5 million.
Each other stuff, man. It's it's ridiculous. I'm gonna say it to both of you, TY and Raj. There's no point. I don't know why you both do it. Neither of you stop. And TY, you've got a way less, like your mic isn't as loud, bruv. So I don't know, bruv. Just wait. Just wait each other out. Raj, maybe make a statement. He's not gonna answer your questions, and you're seemingly not answering his questions. So what are you?
I'll make my statement and let him not interrupt, and I won't interrupt him. Can I make my statement?
Yeah, go for it.
Is it going to be on point? Hold on, is it going to be on point?
If it's on point, then yeah.
Just let him make the statement.
If you're going to regurgitate bullshit, there's no point.
Whatever I want, yeah. So if you interrupt, I'll start again. And I will do that all day.
I'm not even listening. Piss off. You fucking dirty little pigeon. Get out of here.
Come on, man.
Fuck off you and your fucking little comments. Piss off. Your mum's triggered. Your mum's triggered.
It's
Your
so
mum's
easy.
triggered.
It's so easy to be a kid, man. It's that child play with you, man. Oh my god, man.
Raj, you're tone of stage now.
Triggered.
You're triggered. You're the tone of triggered stage now.
Jesus
Your mum. The
Hilarious.
kryptonite's out. Everyone listen to the kryptonite.
Everybody listen to this genre. No,
Yeah,
he doesn't want me to say my piece because he knows
he's disorientated now. He's forgotten his speech. Go on.
you know I'm gonna trust
He's
you.
disorientated. The blows that he's just received.
You're gonna get crushed when I make my
give me a speech now. Go on. Get on with it.
Let's see if you can let me say it because I know it's
Get on with
gonna
your
hurt.
speech, man. Come on, get on with it now. Go on.
If you interrupt me, I'll start again.
I'm
going toilet. I hope
you ever get fed up with this online drama?
I'm putting the phone down.
All right, so when it comes to individuals condemning empires like the British Empire, like certain individuals do on this panel, like TYO, he was trying to insinuate that the Indians that were sent over were Muslims, Sikhs, and Hindus to Africa were used by the colonial powers in terms to kind of maybe be used as a buffer class. I agree with that. Now, with him, he's a support of the Ottoman Empire. If you look at his insignia on his avatar right now, that is the Ottoman Empire insignia. Now, when you look at the Ottoman Empire, it was almost as big as the British Empire. It was ruling, from Africa, Sudan, all the way up to North Africa, all the way up to India at some points. In order to do that, they had to go in and colonize those lands like the British did themselves. So this guy's a hypocrite. Now, when it comes to atrocities, one of the worst atrocities was committed in 1914 to 23. The Armenian Genocide, and that was committed by the Ottoman Empire. This individual, So now let's go from the beginning. So this individual,
there was no need to start from the beginning. There was no need to.
I'll start from the beginning. So this individual TYO is somebody that is a proponent against the British Empire, and he is making into places like Uganda were used as a buffer class in order to kind of like manipulate the indigenous population of Uganda, and the British did that through colonial means and manipulation. Now the Ottoman Empire is a master of this as well. He's a hypocrite because his coat of arms that you see on his avatar is the Ottoman Empire coat of arms, or whatever you want to call it. The Ottoman Empire stretched all the way, not just from North Africa, it was actually in Africa, the Sudan, all the way down to
seven climates and 3 continents.
Then, on top of that, this individual knows that the Ottoman Empire also used to encroach into India as well, where they killed millions of people going into India, which are his pussy ancestors who probably converted, and he's proud of that. Don't worry about it. Now, when it comes to this situation about the Armenian Genocide, I would say anybody that says that the Armenian Genocide was not a genocide is a goddamn degenerate and a savage. Because in that genocide, 1.5 million people died through starvation, mass murder, deportation, and basically what we call kind of maybe even like I think I kind of reduced the population by probably like 25% or something like that. And even now, people like the young Ottoman are saying it's not a genocide. But I would say to this, if this happened in any country in the Islamic world, that 1.5 million people were killed, starved, and displaced, it would be a genocide.
Palestine. What about Palestine?
So, this guy, you have to understand, he is the opposite side of the British colonial powers. The reason
hold on. What about Palestine?
The reason why he hates the British is not because he hates the British, it's because the colonial Ottoman Empire was destroyed by the Western powers.
Has it gone from hating you to hating Sikhs now? Hating colonialism to hating
I understand why
keep it on the topic. Keep it on the topic.
So you are basically a colonial supporter as long as it's from your Muslim brothers against the kuffars or Muslims, but you're against all other colonial.
He's been talking for 5 minutes, so we're going to shut him up now.
So you need to, when you're going through your thing, I know you're going to ignore the Armenian Genocide because it just shows that you don't see people that are not Muslim as human beings. So the Armenians are just Armenians, and so you don't give two shits. But it was a genocide, and it's a disgrace that you are supporting the Ottoman Empire and are actually playing it down as being not a genocide. So you
Raj, one simple question. Other than the term Armenian genocide, elaborate on this actual situation and tell me about it. Tell me what you know about it, or when it happened, how it happened. Elaborate.
Well, for
Woman, everyone, other than the soundbite, Armenian genocide. Tell me what you know about it.
Right. For my understanding, the Armenia was under the Ottoman Empire at the time, in the 90s. I don't know exactly when they actually.
He doesn't update. Right.
I know that the Armenian genocide happened between the times of the World War I. I think it was like 1914 or maybe between 1914 and maybe 1920. And in that thingy, the way that they kind of displaced and starved out that country resulted in 1.5 million deaths. Yeah, the Armenians are actually Christians. Yeah, and the Ottomans are obviously was an Islamic state. Yeah, so this situation is still being contested even to today. Yeah, with the Turkish government refusing to acknowledge that it was a genocide, even though pretty much everybody who is not from the Islamic world agrees it was a genocide. Yeah, and the reason why they don't want to take it, they don't want to, in my opinion, the reason why they don't want to admit it's a genocide, because then, yeah, they would have a problem with people probably trying to kind of maybe, what do they do when they try to get some kind of compensation or something? That they would
reparations.
They will have more of a legal route to go down if they admit it's a genocide. Right now, they're just not admitting it. So the Armenians.
So what about what Italy did in Libya?
The Armenians, yeah, are in a kind of like in a very difficult situation, because people like the young Ottoman doesn't really care if it was 2 million, 3 million, 4 million.
So what was what was the situation? Sorry, Abi Bilal, what were you saying about which country you mentioned just then?
Italy, what they did in Libya. Yeah, I mean, they fought them. Well, they colonized them for a long time, and they killed over 1 million of them. I can't remember the exact figures. And this is after when you're talking, Raj. So this happens many times around the world. Why are you so stuck on this one? This one death march that happened. I mean, what they did in Libya was far worse than what you're talking about here.
Hold on, but I'm not going to say to you it's not a genocide. If people are dying en masse because they've been displaced from their homes and starved and killed, to me that's a genocide. Now, the young Ottoman and yourself are saying that this particular atrocity, where there was also like concentration camps and stuff like this, and starvation.
What in Armenia?
And confiscation of properties and all this.
What in Armenia?
This is happening in Palestine today, though. Like,
there were concentration camps in Armenia.
Well, that's
No, I mean, from what I understand, it was a death march. They just sent them on a march.
The Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, that was when they deserted the checkpost, didn't they? The Armenians.
All right, so there was, from my understanding, they say that there's 25 concentration camps here was set up by the Ottoman government, yeah, in order to subdue them. So they had concentration camps. There was mass starvation, death marches, everything that constitutes a genocide occurred. If you want to say other places around the world have had genocide, I will agree with you. Genocides have happened. But my issue with the young Ottoman is that he's trying to sugarcoat his beloved Ottoman Empire, but constantly goes on about the Brits.
I never, Raj, when you asked me, when you asked me at the beginning, so you're not letting me talk now.
Is it a genocide or not? Is it a genocide?
Raj, he let you speak. We were all silent while you rambled on for 5 minutes.
Maybe you can answer whether it's a genocide, because he downplayed it and said it wasn't. But you've been given more information about it.
You're still talking.
Yeah, I know I'm talking.
Do you have no shame?
I have no shame.
Are these the manners your mother taught you? Because it's the mother that teaches manners.
Come on, let's keep the dialogue going.
Come on, man. Come on.
Is this what you like?
I love
like
you
me to talk to you like this?
Not to take shit.
You like this, don't you?
TY, man, just make your point.
Don't you?
People like you.
So let me talk then.
I was told to stand my ground and make sure I don't take shit from people like you.
Your mother also told you to get married and fuck off out of the house and being a burden. You pathetic little fucking pigeon. I bet she also said that to you as well, didn't she? But everyone's telling you to get married. I bet they're all worried about you now. They probably think you're a
khusra. Ruining your mind. I get it.
Are you going to let me talk?
Is ruining your mind.
Just let him speak.
Are you going to let me talk?
Thank you, Dad, so much. Thank you.
What's he talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah, so at the beginning you asked me, do I agree
Abu
with the
Bilal,
Ottoman
listen, I'm not
Empire?
going
And I
Yo,
on.
told you,
Ali Khan, chill out, man.
What are you saying, Khan? You lost your chest there. Go on.
yeah, at the beginning you asked me, do I agree with the Ottoman Empire? At no point did I say I wholeheartedly agree. So, you know, this narrative that you're going on about that I'm painting over the Ottoman Empire, it's a load of bollocks. You're trying to strawman me because I come on here and hotted you up about the fact that you were a Sikh, and the Sikhs all the way in Uganda don't look natural. Okay? You know this, I know this, we all know this. So stop trying to strawman this whole narrative about the Ottoman Empire and answer that question and acknowledge that your ancestors were involved in the subduing of the Ugandan people. Acknowledge that, embrace it. That's all this is about.
Is that it? Is that the level of your intellect?
No, 1 minute.
Have you got anything more?
Yeah, you're right. Did you hear that? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you.
Yeah, Raj, this has got nothing to do with the Ottomans. Stop trying to strawman it. The topic was about Uganda. And like I said, Sikhs like you don't look normal or natural in Uganda. You know that. We know that. Especially in a third world country that everyone knows is being pillaged for its resources. It doesn't look normal. So stop trying to sugarcoat your past, which you are directly, the people in your family are alive who are actually there on the ground physically in Uganda that probably had black slaves, that had slaves in the house. People are alive in your family today who probably lived that. So I'm sorry, but don't try coming on here strawmanning me about the Ottomans when I've not bigged them up. I've not said anything about them. I've not said they were righteous or they were this or they that. I've not said anything like that. I've just touched on the topic about your family being in Uganda. That's it.
Is that it? Is that it?
His silence would indicate that, Raj.
Are you serious? Is this the level of your intellect?
You mean you don't have a response to what he's saying?
No, I don't. Look, there's nothing to respond to. He said that he's not made any new
This
points.
this is the level of his intellect, yeah? Watch, observe him now. No reply.
The only thing I replied to, none of my family ever had any slaves, like your family probably did. The Ottoman enslaved a lot of people, including Khan said he brought a slave. His granddad bought a woman from a slave.
Fuck's sake.
He was a slave.
See, I do.
The machine gun method out now.
That was in 1900.
He's deploying the machine
That was
gun
in the
method
1900 under the Ottoman Empire. You do know that, don't you? Khan, when his great-granddad brought a slave in the 1900s and married her under the Ottoman Empire.
Sake, man.
And you're talking to me about slaves? Are you serious?
You're gonna draw Khan out. You know this. You just mentioned.
Look, hold on. Linguistically,
this has got nothing to do with Khan. This is about me and you. In your house right now.
Hold on, Raj.
In your house right now, there's a lady who lived in Uganda as a child and probably had nannies and slaves.
Who are you talking
about?
about?
And that lady's your mother.
All right. So once again, you can see everybody. Listen, everybody. This individual has no morals. He has no izzat.
You come from a family that got fled from Uganda.
Grooming is happening.
You come from a family that fled Uganda. You openly said your mother lived in Uganda.
Young girls is happening up north.
There are documentaries. Everyone can Google the documentaries about Indians in Uganda.
Kids are being raped all over white Europe by the white man. Why are you not complaining about that?
He is indicative of what the mentality is of the Pakistanis up north.
Has it gone from Ottomans to Pakistanis now? Why are you not answering the Ugandan question?
Very little civility.
Why are you not answering the Ugandan question?
Do you not find it an issue?
Why are you not answering the Ugandan question? Did your mother grow up with Ugandan slaves as nannies?
And raping?
Did your mother grow up with Ugandan slaves as nannies?
Little kebab shops and stuff like that.
Did your mother grow up with
a disgrace? A disgrace.
You're not doing it again, you know. The Raj and TYO show.
Did your mother have a Ugandan wetness? Yes or no? It's a simple question. You live like royalty over there. That's what you did.
Dan, you can see Let me say something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
he
be
sent the
quiet for
packing.
the last
Did you
7
see
months.
you all queued up? Did you see him queued
Disrespecting
up?
my family.
Have you seen the videos
I've
of more
never
queued up?
ever gone to his level because I've got Izzat and he has Izzat means
No,
honor.
what I'm pointing
You
out
have
facts.
no honor.
There's videos on the net.
You have
Google
no
Idi
honor.
Amin kicks
You
out
have
Indians.
no
Google
honor.
them. Watch the videos.
You have no
Look at the
honor.
Yeah,
palaces.
Raj. Just
The local people confiscate palaces. They go into the palaces. And these palaces were these Indian people that were living there, subduing the locals. That's what they were doing until Idi Amin came along and booted them out, kicked them, sent them packing. And majority of them, guess where they landed? In the UK, London. I.e., Raj and his family.
No. We wasn't caught. My family actually wasn't kicked out, so don't worry about that. We actually
Yeah,
left.
so you say. So you say.
Well, no, it's not what
So
I
you say. It's weird, isn't it, how they left a year or two before and
What
around that time,
happens
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, I bet that's what they
Run
all
away.
say.
But you know,
But that's what they're all saying.
you know Muslims in Uganda.
But the reality is, there's somebody in your house right now that probably had a Ugandan slave as a wet nurse and a nanny.
Did you know
There's more chance of your mother having a slave than my mother.
So, well,
there's more chance of your mother having owned a slave living in Uganda than my mother living in Pakistan or wherever she lived.
Well, the thing is with you.
Yeah, that's the difference, Raj. Okay. Yeah, and that's the fact.
What I have to say
and that's
to
a
you
fact.
is that
Everybody can Google Uganda Idi Amin.
Yeah,
Google
Idi
it. Watch
Amin
the
was actually
videos.
Muslim, you know. You do know that, don't you?
Pardon?
Idi Amin was a Muslim.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was. Idi Amin was a
didn't know
Muslim.
that.
So that's probably why.
Are you being sarcastic, T.Y.?
No.
What, bro? He died in Saudi Arabia, I think. He went into exile in Saudi Arabia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So why do you think he persecuted the Sikhs again?
All right, so but there are no Muslims there then.
All right, there were Muslims.
All right, in this bit, right? So now it suits you for there to be no Muslims there, right?
There were Muslims there.
Okay, so go on, see that. Go on, Raj.
Because of the Muslim brotherly love, they might have not.
All right, yo. Let's try and get a little bit of a convo going. We got Kay back on the panel. I don't know if Kay, you got any input into this?
I've got to jump off.
You're a disgrace.
Yeah, no, I'm not a disgrace. Your mother's a disgrace.
Please,
your mother needs to repent. She had slaves. My mother didn't.
I need to.
What a shame. She should be ashamed of herself.
We need to show people the savagery of the young Ottoman. Yeah, he has no honor. He has attacked my mother mercilessly for 7 months, and I've not said anything about his. And you can see I've not lowered myself. I attack him, not his family. So he is a nasty piece of work who has probably said the most slanderous thing against my mother that anybody has done, which is now affecting my family in real life because of the lie he made up. Yeah, and it's not a joke. My mum.
But Raj, it does kind of beg the question: where does your family get the money from?
What money?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying, man. Only thing I can find on you guys is Fab 13. Right? That's the only thing. I don't understand how any of you don't make money.
All right, so ask the question then. Go down this rabbit hole. Say it.
I just asked you. You don't make your money, innit?
Yeah, go on. Where do you think we got the money from?
I asked you the question. Why are you asking me the question? I asked you the question.
I'm asking you, where do you think we got the money from? You must have an indication.
I don't know. Maybe you raped Africa before you left. I don't know.
Oh, so we raped Africa before we left. Okay.
I don't know. I'm asking you, innit? You just don't seem to want to answer any questions about your history in Africa for some reason.
All right, so previously I answered quite a lot of questions, didn't I?
You answered one, but then you went on a ramble about other stuff we never asked.
I was showing the hypocrisy of a man that supports the Ottoman Empire, but condemns the Indians going over to Africa under the British Empire, because it was under the British Empire. He was trying to out the Indians for cooperating with the British and going over to Uganda. So I'm asking the opposite, the same question. You support the Ottoman Empire that subjugated how much of the world? You're talking about Africa, India, you name it. They had conquered and pillaged most of the known world for hundreds of years.
I wouldn't say pillaged. I mean, like with Spain, definitely they flourished.
Well, you're an extremist Muslim, so you don't believe
Raj.
You're gonna ignore history.
No. You believe you're right as a jihadi to go in, and take what you want from the Kuffar, don't you?
I told you they were invited to Spain.
No, I'm talking about the rest. So you know the Turks went into India as well, and they went into India and pillaged, murdered, and killed people en masse. What do you think?
I don't know the history of India. I'm not.
You know, TYO's ancestors pissed themselves when that sword was put to their neck because they were Hindus, and they shot themselves as well, and they converted. Most people from, let's say, North India.
Is people tend to listen to their community rather than history most of the time. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't.
Right, so when the Ottomans went in, they didn't give in the beginning. They didn't give the choice of the jizya. It was either you convert or die. You're right. And so there was loads of stories of the Muslims going into North India and persecuting the Hindu population. Because my family is Sikh now, but they were Hindu at one point, and killing them en masse, destroying temples. Afghanistan used to be Buddhist at one time. There's no Buddhist left. Pakistan used to be Hindu and Buddhist at one time. There's hardly any left. Kashmir used to be a Hindu at one time. Hardly any Hindus left. So when they went into India, they raped and pillaged, resulting in 150 million deaths over 800 years. Are you okay with that? The Islamic conquest of India resulting in 150 million deaths?
I know Ahmed is doing Kenya, you know, Raj.
Listen, history is history. Like nations, whatever their religion was, they conquered lands. It was standard.
No,
You understand? Like this is just normal occurrence in history.
I didn't ask you that. I said to you, do you think it was a good thing?
What do I think? The practices of old were good. They were good for society back then, innit?
Was it good? What do you believe that the way TYO said that he's happy that his land was conquered because he's now Muslim?
Well, that's his own personal thing, innit? I can't really comment on that, but I'll say, alhamdulillah, that they became a Muslim nation.
All right. Well, I need to shoot anyway. I've got a video playing of me and Amara, so I need to go anyway.
Yo, Raj, I condemn anything. I'm only going to protect my prophet and the 4K list. I'm not going to.
Yeah, that's fine, man. That's fine. And the thing is that
how did you understand that? I never understood any of that.
Well, you need to start listening. Anyway, I'm off.
I was listening.